After my dad died, my mom gave me up for adoption to start over. Then 19 years later, she returned begging for help when her perfect new life collapsed suddenly. I am caught in a complicated situation, and I need your advice to figure out if I am in the wrong. It is a story that spans over 19 years and involves my estranged mom. Here is what happened. When I was a kid, my mom made a choice. She decided to give me up for adoption so she could start a new life with her new husband after my dad passed away. It was a really confusing and painful time for me because I'd always hoped to have a close relationship with my mom. But instead, she prioritized her new family and left me behind. As a kid in foster care, I faced some tough stuff. One big issue was always moving around. I never stayed in one place for too long, so I had to keep adjusting to new homes, new people, and new rules. It made it hard to feel like I belonged or make lasting friendships. Another problem was feeling abandoned and disconnected from my own family. I could not be with my parents, and it hurt a lot. I did not understand why I had to be apart from them, and it made me feel sad and confused. Sometimes the foster homes were not great either. I had some good foster parents who cared for me, but there were times when things were not so good. Sometimes I did not get the support or love I needed. I did not always have someone looking out for me or helping me through tough times. School was another challenge. I had to switch schools a lot, and it was hard to keep up with different teachers, subjects, and classmates. It felt like I was always playing catch-up, and it made it tough to do well in my studies. Being in foster care was tough. Well, another big problem was that sometimes the money meant for us kids was used by the foster parents for themselves. They did not spend it on things I needed, which was unfair, and some foster parents did not take any care of me. It made me feel unsafe and like I could not trust the people who were supposed to look after me. Sadly, there were cases of abuse in foster care as well. Some kids were hurt physically, emotionally, or even sexually by their foster parents or others in the foster home. Fortunately, I never had to face that, except for a few slaps and a few nights without dinner back in the day. But hearing these things about other kids left lasting scars and made it difficult to trust others. Not all foster care experiences are the same. Some kids are lucky to have loving and supportive foster families, while others face tough challenges. I did not know what would happen. My mom did not know it as well, but she gave me up and would send gifts to the social workers at times, expensive gifts. Well, there were days when I struggled to get enough food. She did not care about me, and it made me angry. But with time, my anger turned into indifference. Despite all the challenges, I was determined to make something of myself. I found support from some foster parents, teachers, and mentors who believed in me. They helped me believe in myself and build my confidence. It was towards my 15th birthday when I met some amazing people who became the best foster parents I ever had. I worked really hard on my education to make a better future for myself. I studied a lot, got scholarships, and even had some chances to do internships. Let me give you a couple of examples. One summer, I got to work at a company that does engineering. It was a cool experience because I got to work with professionals in that field and learn a lot about it. It was not just sitting in a classroom. I got to see how things work in the real world. Plus, I made connections with people who can help me in the future. This was possible because of my foster parents, and this led to my career and whatever that I am today. These internships and the support from my foster parents were really important in my journey to success. They taught me practical skills, showed me what it is like in the real world, and gave me people to lean on. I am grateful for these opportunities and the people who believed in me. Now, out of nowhere, my mom contacts me with bad news. She says she is on the verge of being homeless and desperately needs my help. I am torn about what to do because of everything that happened in the past. She went on to say that she was my mom, and not them, so I must help her. I was taken aback by her sudden appearance, but it is weird to just go back to accepting her as my mom. On one hand, I understand that life can be unpredictable and people make mistakes. I know that anyone can face difficult times, but on the other hand, I cannot forget the hurt and betrayal from before. After all these years of being absent, can I trust her intentions? Is this just another attempt to use me for her own benefit? I am not sure if I even want to meet her. I want to hear your thoughts, Reddit. Am I wrong for being hesitant to help my mom in her time of need? Should I put my past feelings aside and lend a hand? Or is it fair for me to prioritize my own emotions and protect myself from potential manipulation? Update 1. So, I decided to meet up with my mom after all these years. I went over to her place, and let me tell you, it was like stepping into a fancy mansion. I was taken aback by how luxurious her house was. As we sat down to talk, she opened up about her financial struggles and how she was on the brink of losing everything. Her husband had left her and her kids, leaving them in a tough spot. To be honest, seeing her worried about her kids in her fancy house when I was left all alone really got to me. I could not help feeling a mix of anger and hurt. I mean, she had been living in luxury all this time while I was left to fend for myself. It is hard to wrap my head around the fact that she had the means to help me but chose not to. I am conflicted and confused. On one hand, I understand that she is going through a tough time, and I do not want her or her kids to suffer. On the other hand, it is hard to forget how she abandoned me and never lent a helping hand. It is a tough situation to navigate. Now I am stuck wondering if I should offer my support or just turn my back on her as she did to me. It is a difficult decision to make, and I am still grappling with my emotions and trying to figure out the right thing to do. Update 2. Alright folks, here is the much anticipated update. After much contemplation and soul-searching, I made a decision. Brace yourselves because it is a juicy one. I decided to offer some financial help to my mom in her time of need. I gave her a sum of money, but let me make one thing clear. It was not enough to sustain her lavish lifestyle in that fancy mansion of hers. That is something she has got to figure out on her own. Now here is where things took an ugly turn. Instead of being grateful, she got angry. Can you believe it? She had the audacity to accuse my foster family of manipulating me. Well, let me tell you, I was not having any of that nonsense. I stood up for my foster parents and made it crystal clear that they had been nothing but supportive and loving. I told her that she had two options: take the money I offered or leave it. I made it clear that I would not let her and the kids be homeless, but beyond that, I would not do anything more. It was a boundary I had set for my well-being. In the end, she reluctantly took the money and left. I feel very overwhelmed. Update 3. Hey everyone, here is the final update on this roller coaster of a situation. Things have been quite eventful since my last post, so let me spill the tea. Brace yourselves. So, guess who came knocking on my door again? Yep, you guessed it, my dear old mom. She showed zero interest in getting to know me for a whopping 19 years. I called her out on her lack of care and concern for me all these years. I made it crystal clear that I do not consider her as my mom. Sure, she gave birth to me, but that does not automatically earn her a special place in my heart. I am not playing that game. Look, I will not let her end up on the streets because that is just not who I am. But beyond that, I am done. This is the end of the line for me. I have got my own life to focus on and my happiness to prioritize. So, my dear Redditors, here is where I need your final judgment. Am I the asshole for standing my ground, calling out my mom's lack of care, and deciding to distance myself from her drama? Let me know your thoughts because this is the last update I will be sharing. Not the asshole. Wow, after reading your story, it is clear as day that you are not the asshole. You have been through so much growing up in foster care and facing neglect from your mom. It takes so much strength to overcome those. Offering her any kind of help, even though she does not deserve it, shows you have got a heart of gold. But setting boundaries is necessary. Do not let her toxic energy bring you down. That is self-respect, my friend. You deserve to focus on your happiness and not be dragged down by someone who never showed up when it mattered. Keep thriving and do not let anyone make you doubt your worth. In this situation, you are not the asshole. Your mom's sudden reappearance after all those years of abandonment does not give her a free pass to expect your immediate help. You have worked hard to build a life for yourself despite the challenges you faced in foster care. Do not let anyone guilt-trip you into sacrificing your happiness and money for someone who never cared enough before. Everyone sucks here. While your mom's past actions are undoubtedly hurtful and selfish, it is important to acknowledge that everyone in this situation has their flaws. Yes, she abandoned you and lived a lavish life while neglecting your responsibilities as a parent. However, offering some financial help while simultaneously distancing yourself from her seems like a mixed message. While it is understandable to set boundaries, completely shutting her out may not be the best approach. It is a complex situation. It is hard to place the blame solely on one side. Ultimately, it is up to you to decide what is best for your well-being and peace of mind. Next story. I, a 30-year-old male, perpetually have trouble sleeping, and sometimes I need to get up from the bed and try sleeping in a different bedroom or spend some time on the couch. My girlfriend, a 30-year-old female, is a light sleeper, so this can cause problems when I enter and exit the room. I try as best I can to be quiet when I enter and exit, but sometimes I can be clumsy or not light on my feet, causing her to wake up. And when I do nothing other than enter and go directly to my side of the bed, usually I sleep in my office to avoid coming in and out of the bedroom, which wakes her up. We have 2 spare bedrooms, so sleeping arrangements generally are not the problem. Last night, I felt like I was actually going to be able to sleep, and I decided I wanted to sleep with her. She had work the next morning. After about 10 minutes of laying beside her, I felt like I was too hungry to sleep, so I went to the kitchen to make some food. I accidentally banged the pot and cupboard, which caused her to yell at me, after which I heard her lock the door of our shared bedroom. We had designated one of each of the spare bedrooms to either of us, and the master bedroom is ours, both to share. I pay both our rent, and I felt like her taking control of the shared bedroom was unfair and disrespectful. I demanded she let me into our shared bedroom, and she responded that I should sleep somewhere else because I would not be able to sleep, which would result in her not being able to sleep. I did not feel that locking me out of our shared bedroom was either respectful or fair, because she could just easily use a spare room if she had trouble sleeping. Eventually, after pounding the door, she let me in, whereafter I slept, and she went to the other room. She is extremely angry at me. It is now the following day, and she insists that I am wrong in asserting that locking me out of our shared bedroom is no bueno, and knocking on the door until she let me in. Am I the asshole? How are you 30 years old, and think it is fine to knowingly wake your partner up multiple times a night because you have decided you want to sleep with her? Dude, she is not a pillow. She is a person who needs sleep, and you are being malicious and a bad partner. You are the asshole. You are the asshole. You have separate bedrooms because this has been a problem before. You thought you could make it through the night you chose to sleep in her bed. You were wrong and did not make it. You then woke her up. She tried to fix the problem and lock the door so you go back to your bed because she wants to sleep through the night like she expected. You then got mad because... Next story. My dad came to visit me for a few weeks and I was excited to see him since we had not seen each other in months. However, my apartment is already pretty full with my girlfriend living there, who does not pay rent, and me. We have a 2-bedroom apartment, but my girlfriend uses the second room as her personal woman cave and prefers to sleep there most nights. The problem was that my dad had to sleep on the couch in the living room, which was causing him severe back pain. He is 70 years old. Plus, it was inconvenient for everyone since we could not watch television late at night without disturbing him. So I asked my girlfriend if my dad could sleep in her room for a few days, and she could sleep in my room. It seemed like a reasonable request since my dad was only staying for a few more days. However, my girlfriend was not having it. She did not want to give up her space and insisted that I should sleep on the couch or in her room instead. But her bed was too small for me to sleep in, and I needed a proper place to sleep. I got upset because I felt like she was not being reasonable. After all, she does not pay rent, and this is my apartment. She still refused and said that I should have planned better for my dad's visit, saying I should have booked him a hotel room. She called me selfish and made it seem like I was the one being unreasonable. Eventually, I got her to let my dad stay in her room, but she keeps bringing it up and making me feel guilty about it. She acts like I did something terrible when all I was trying to do was help my dad out. Am I the asshole here? Everyone sucks here. You all should have talked about sleeping arrangements before your dad came out to stay with you, not in the middle of this visit. You decided to let your girlfriend live in your apartment rent-free, but that does not mean you get to hold that over her head. If you wanted her to contribute to rent, then have her stop paying her share, but do not use it as a way to play power games. Your father is 70 years old and should absolutely be sleeping in a bed. Your girlfriend is being unreasonable and selfish by refusing to let your dad have her bed for a few nights. Better planning could have saved everyone a lot of trouble and upset. You are the asshole. If you have invited your girlfriend to live with you, and are fine with her having her bedroom, are fine with the arrangement with her not paying rent, then that is what it is, her bedroom. If you do not like the arrangement, change it. You do not just get to hold this over her head for any disagreement. Whoever invites the guests makes accommodations. If her bed is too small for you both, then it certainly makes the most sense for her to give up her bed and sleep with you. However, it is not her job to accommodate your friend. And the real bottom line issue here is that you are using your living situation, which you clearly agreed to, as an attempt to control her. Next story. For context, me, a 28-year-old female, and my sister, a 33-year-old female, planned a trip from the United States to Portugal. I booked the Airbnb and hotel. My sister asked if she could pay later. I was fine with this, but a week before the trip is when problems start to occur. She still had not paid me. She owed me about $1,000. I mentioned it a few times, and she sends me half. She says she will give me the other half cash, as she is a bartender. Well, we go on the trip, and suddenly she claims she forgot all of her cards and essentially has no money, leaving me to pay for both of us to do anything. I do not want to ruin my trip, so I agreed, and I believe she will eventually pay me back. Now, she is my oldest sister, and I am the youngest. I am sort of used to my sibling bossing me around, but this time she was being absolutely terrible to me. I have literally never felt so put down in my life. If we got lost, it was my fault. She was constantly yelling at me. She says she does not pump gas, so I had to pump the gas every time. One of the places we rented only had one bed, so I had to sleep on the couch. It honestly was the worst trip I've ever been on. I put up with it as I thought arguing would only make it worse. Well, fast forward to the day we were supposed to leave and travel to Amsterdam. She is not packed, so I tried to wake her up early so she has time and we could make it to the airport. She just goes crazy on me, saying she knows when she needs to wake up or to leave her the fuck alone. Then she goes back to sleep. Well, I decide that is it, and I get an Uber and leave. I also turn off my phone. Well, not only did she miss the flight, but she had no money to leave. She ends up having to call my parents, and they have to help. Well, now my whole family is saying how I am horrible and how I left her in such a dangerous situation. I thought I was finally standing up for myself, but now everyone is upset with me, and my sister will not speak to me. It is really eating me up, so I went outside for opinions. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. She chose to go on this trip without any safety money, depending on you for everything, and still had the gall to treat you this way. She can fuck right off. You did not abandon her. She is 33 for fuck's sake. Not the asshole. But realize you are not getting any of the money you fronted back. She planned this, thinking she could get a vacation on your time and dollars and credit card. As I sit here in the quiet of my apartment, staring out the window at the city lights flickering like distant memories, I can't help but let the weight of the past few weeks crash over me like a relentless wave. It's been a whirlwind, reconnecting with a ghost from my childhood, dredging up pains I thought I'd buried deep, and finally drawing a line in the sand that feels both liberating and heartbreaking. My mom, the woman who birthed me but never truly mothered me, is gone from my life again, this time by my choice. And yet the echoes of our confrontation linger, stirring a storm of emotions I didn't even know I was capable of feeling anymore. First, there's the anger. God, the anger is like a fire that refuses to die out. For 19 years I was the afterthought, the discarded piece of her old life she swept under the rug to make room for her shiny new family. I remember the foster homes, the cold nights wondering why I wasn't good enough, the hunger pangs when meals were skimped, the slaps that stung more emotionally than physically. She sent gifts to the social workers, expensive trinkets that probably made her feel better about herself, but never once did she check if I had enough to eat or a safe place to sleep. And now, when her perfect world crumbles, her husband leaves, the mansion teeters on the edge of foreclosure, she comes crawling back, demanding help because I'm her mom, as if biology erases abandonment. When I met her in that opulent house, seeing the marble counters and crystal chandeliers while recalling my threadbare blankets in foster care, the rage boiled over. How dare she? How dare she live in luxury while I fought tooth and nail for every scrap of stability? But anger isn't the only beast in this cage. There's sadness too, a deep aching sorrow that creeps in during quiet moments. I mourn the mother I never had, the family holidays and bedtime stories that other kids took for granted. Even now, at 25, I catch myself wondering what life would have been like if she'd chosen me instead of starting over. Would I have avoided the instability, the constant uprooting that left me distrustful and guarded? The foster system isn't all bad. I owe my life to those amazing parents who took me in at 15, who encouraged my internships and celebrated my scholarships. They became my real family, the ones who showed up. But still, there's this hollow spot where a biological mom's love should be. When she begged for help, part of me wanted to scream, "Where were you when I needed you?" Another part whispered, maybe this is a chance for redemption. Offering her that money wasn't easy. It felt like handing over a piece of my hard-earned peace. And her reaction? Accusing my foster family of brainwashing me? It shattered any illusion of reconciliation. The sadness hits hardest at night when I realize I'll never have closure from her, only from within myself. Mixed in with the anger and sadness is a surprising sense of guilt. Am I too harsh? Society drills into us that family is everything, that blood ties demand forgiveness no matter the cost. My friends say I'm a saint for helping at all, but in the mirror I see someone who's maybe punishing her too much. She has kids now, half siblings I don't know and probably never will. What if they end up on the streets because I didn't give more? I set boundaries to protect myself, but guilt nags. Is this revenge disguised as self-care? When she showed up again, demanding more, I called her out, told her she wasn't my mom, just the woman who gave me up. Her face crumpled, and for a split second, I felt like the villain. But then I remember the years of indifference, the birthdays forgotten, the Christmases alone. No, the guilt is misplaced. It's the residue of a child's longing for approval that never came. I've worked too hard to build my career, my confidence, my life, to let her drag me back into chaos. Relief washes over me in waves, too. Sweet, unburdening relief. Standing my ground that final time, watching her walk away with the money but without my emotional investment, felt like shedding a heavy coat I'd worn for too long. I'm free now. No more wondering if she'll call, no more second-guessing my worth. My foster parents cheered when I told them. They reminded me that family is chosen, not imposed. I've got a solid job in engineering, thanks to those internships they supported, and friends who feel like siblings. The indifference I cultivated over the years, my shield against the pain, has evolved into genuine detachment. She's not my problem anymore. That realization brings peace, like finally closing a book that's been open on a painful chapter for far too long. Yet, beneath it all, there's pride. Pride in the person I've become despite the odds. From a scared kid bouncing between homes to a self-sufficient adult who's turned trauma into triumph, that's my story, not hers. The foster care scars are there, the trust issues, the hyper-independence, the occasional nightmares of abandonment. But they've forged resilience. I graduated college on scholarships, landed that engineering gig, and even mentor foster kids now, paying it forward. Helping her, even minimally, proved I'm not like her. I'm compassionate without being a doormat. Calling her out wasn't cruelty, it was honesty. I deserve to prioritize my happiness, to build a life untainted by her drama. As the days pass, these emotions ebb and flow. Some mornings I wake up empowered, ready to conquer the world. Others, I feel the sting of what-ifs. Therapy helps. I've started sessions to unpack it all, to ensure her return doesn't derail my progress. My foster mom says time will heal, and I believe her. She's the one who's earned that title. In the end, this ordeal has reaffirmed my values. Kindness with boundaries, forgiveness without forgetting, self-worth above all. I'm not the asshole for choosing myself. I'm the hero of my own narrative. If she ever reflects on her choices, maybe she'll see that. But I'm not holding my breath. My future is mine, bright and unencumbered. And for the first time in years, that feels like enough.